Hello, everybody, and welcome to what will be the first of two deck techs this week, I believe. Probably just push one in between other videos here, but either way, this past weekend I did a double header with Black Panther and Silk. Silk was up against Mutagen Formula, and Black Panther was up against an undecided scenario, as I have not yet played it, but I know that I will. I played against Mutant Formula with the Inheritors, swapping in for Goblin gimmicks, and I used Silk. And this deck by ltUrban called Silk Pitchback. And I wanted to talk about it just because I think I had a very positive experience with it. I do think that there are some highs and lows, and I wanted to show it off just in general, just because, you can see what happened time playing Silk, which means this was also my only time playing the deck. So also, take some of my criticisms or some of my positives with a grain of salt because it does kind of come with the context of like this is one scenario, one attempt, and win or lose, I can only go off of that. But I did find, just in general, I found Silk to be a lot more nuanced than I was expecting. There were scenarios, and I still haven't looked up the rules on them entirely, but there were scenarios where, considering the tucking and untucking of things, came into play a lot more than I was expecting. And I'll even say that she's very good at getting cards tucked under her. So if you want to use Cindy Moon's ability to discard a card to draw two cards, I find that to be a very potent ability. Like, as long as you're down, you might as well get some extra cards, give yourself some extra options. I feel like that gave her a really good economy. But let's get into the actual cards because I have my pluses and minuses with some of these. So right off the bat, this isn't important to the deck, but we have 3 copies of Skilled Strike. I didn't feel like this was a prominent part of the deck. But what I will say is that this is a card I don't think about a lot. I think I've probably used it in like a Thor deck, just where I knew that getting through some extra damage was going to make a bigger impact and might be able to get me through a stage faster. But this actually worked out really well, especially in combination with Peter Parker Spider Man. And I know this is kind of a rare thing. You're not going to see this in every game, but the ability to play one of these on an attack, ready up with Peter Parker, and play another one to just do 4 and 4 was very potent. That your experience may vary, but I found that to be a very potent part of the deck. Additionally, I wasn't expecting to find Into the Fray to be extremely helpful. I kind of got lucky in the Mutant Formula version I played through. I really only had to deal with the main scheme. I did not hit very many side schemes. I didn't even have the chance to, but what I could have even done was taken a Mugen Formula side scheme and swapped it with like a Goblin Thrall with Eidetic Memory. That never came up, but like you do have the way to kind of like whatever your weakness is, Silk kind of has a way to kind of skew the game towards what is best for you. And while Into the Fray is expensive, it did help to just like take out a guard minion, remove 3 threat from the main scheme. And so I kind of walked into this scenario thinking that this wasn't going to be that important. And by the end of it, like, once again, your experience may vary. This actually did a pretty good job of just being a thwarter in a deck that even the creator points out there's a lot of thwarting. This was my primary way to do that. So it's kind of a twist where I was playing a 3 cost event to do most of my thwarting, and it was working out pretty well. And then lastly, for the aggression cards, I think entirely, other than, okay, we have one ally, but like in terms of the aggression cards proper, we had Pitchback. And I will say that because Pitchback in this scenario needs organic webbing to be online. I tried to skew my play towards getting this out, but I think that in this deck, I see the use of it, and I love Pitchback as an event. I think that skewing your gameplay in an aggression deck to try to bump up your thwart, it's not a bad thought, but I feel like I cannot reliably be aerial enough for Pitchback to be what I want to do. And I think that in a solo game, it's not a bad idea to have a priority towards making your thwart better. She has a 1 in thwart, you want to make that better. I think in multiplayer, this is the kind of card that's going to come out because To make this better, you're prioritizing your thwart, where I think in a multiplayer game, you're going to want to probably have the attack upgrade be your priority because that's going to be your role in the game. So for me, it's the namesake of the deck. Once again, I love pitchback. I don't know that pitchback is a good pick here, and I don't even know that any aggression aerial card is going to be, because then it's contingent on you having organic webbing. Unless you had a way to go out of your way to find organic webbing, and this is kind of breaks the deck anyway, but I believe you should be able to play the basic version of Hope Summers. Actually, let me look that up real quick. Yeah, this is overkill. Since the basic version of Hope Summers, the 4-cost one, can just go find a superpower, that might be a difference maker. If you were able to have a reliable way to basically tutor out your organic webbing, that might be a difference. For me, pitchback, it might not be the right card for this deck, and you might want to just look for something else if you were to try out this deck yourself. But once again, my experience may vary. Your experience is going to vary. But I just did not. I found myself trying to bend over backwards to make pitchback work, and then it just never did. Let's move on to the allies, because the allies were one of the most attractive parts of this to me. So we've got 4 copies of Spider-Man. We've got Peter Parker, we've got Hobie Brown, we've got Dr. Octavius, and we've got Miles. And to some extent, I see the use for every single one of these. Miles is going to allow you to pick whatever is most important to you. I did both of his modes. I bumped up his thwart. I later bumped up his attack. I think he's a very strong ally, and especially in a deck where you are okay losing your Web Warriors, having him come into play, combo off whatever Web Warrior stuff you're going to do, and then get out and, once again, combo off of your Web of Life and Destiny, which actually, this was also another important card. We already know this is a good card. This was good here. But just the amount, this probably drew me 7 cards in the game, and that's that's very good for a card that is free, essentially. But yeah, just having Miles come into play, do his thing, very good. Octavius, did not get to use him as much. I don't know if he came into play or if he was just a theoretical, here's what I could do. I do see the appeal of him because being able to ready up one of your upgrades that cares about the cards tucked under you, especially in this scenario where there's a lot of mutagen formula, the spider claws or whatever that bump up her attack, that would have been really, really good in this deck. So I did not get to play with him, but I absolutely see his use, and I would totally co-sign using him in this deck. Hobie, we all know Hobie's good. If you've played with Hobie, you know how powerful he is. In this case, I think he dealt 5 damage when he left play. So draw a card, deal 5 damage. Just great. Helped to make... He was the difference maker, really. If it weren't for him, I don't think I would have won the game, because he put Green Goblin in stage 2 into a position where all I needed to do was just get off some strong attacks. Did not put them together as quickly as possible, but absolutely... Hobie's good, and we already knew that. And then Peter, he might be the all-star of the basic Spider-Man, because just being able to allow Silk to defend and ready her back up is good. She's got a 3 defense. That's what she's strongest at, naturally. When you can just turn this into 6 damage because you attack with her, deal 2 damage, thwart or attack with him, deal 2 damage, or thwart 2 damage, and then ready her back up and do it all over again. That's just great. He is totally worth it. He maybe isn't the first thing he's not the only thing I grabbed with Across the Spider-Verse. I think in the game I grabbed Jessica Drew, which we'll talk about in just a second, and I think I grabbed Miles, but he is absolutely a good candidate for that as well. And yeah, he's an all-star. We kind of already knew that, but yeah, just in general, I would say if there's one of these, I don't think you can skip out on any of these. I see a purpose for all of them, and they're all really good. The biggest thing that pulled me into this deck was I wanted to play with Spider-Woman, and I wanted to do it with Cindy Moon. If I was going to play my first game, I wanted it to be with her, so I knew that I was going to be in aggression, and she paid off. In my mind, you can think of Jessica Drew as 2 attacks, so deal 4 damage, and then just let her sit there and let you cycle through all of your other Web Warriors. And then I just used her as a chump block at a point when I needed it. She might as well be a support or an upgrade that just sits in play and just combos with the Web of Life and Destiny, get them coming in, get them going out. And yeah, the only thing that I kind of forgot was I forgot to activate her ability on her. I think I did eventually catch up with that, but I cleaned up that, but didn't think about it right away. And then it was just a matter of like remembering, okay, whenever web warrior comes into play, make sure that you're doing this. She's absolutely worth it. I think she probably dealt upwards of 6 or 7 damage herself. I love this addition to the web warrior archetype, just being able to say, hey, I'm in aggression, and you had to play with all these other basic ones. And the only other one that I might have considered was just SPDR. I don't know that, swapping in a 40 first card, or maybe swap out the pitch packs, one of those things is SPDR. But yeah, she did phenomenally. I thought she was going to be good. She either met my expectations or went beyond my expectations. Then we'll just make this really quick. We got so many basic cards that Power in All of Us is a great call. The basic resources are good. You kind of already know that. I believe in the closing turns of the game, I think I had both of these. I dumped them because I wanted to see more cards. But yeah, this resource suite makes sense. And then we've got some one-ofs. Actually, let's take a step back here. I don't want to put that into play. Okay, so we've got one-ofs here, and I definitely had a side eye when I saw these two because these are sort of maligned within the community. Ingenuity, I didn't get out into play, but that was really more of, it came into my hand at a point when it's like, I don't know if I'm going to alter ego, so we kind of dumped this. Absolutely see a reason to have this. Do not undercut it. I eventually did play Enhanced Reflexes. I didn't end up needing the energy from it, but I can absolutely see how, with how short games can be, I don't know that I'm going to undercut these anymore. I think you need to have a purpose, but I think being able to just carry over an extra resource every turn for 3 turns is, at that point, these are basically the web shooters. And I would say the web shooters they're not the worst card in Miles or Peter's kit. And I don't know that I'm going to give as much of a side eye to the enhanced stuff anymore. Because I think in the right deck, especially in a deck that plays so much basic, that you're playing the Power in All of Us, these are not 2 cost upgrades. These are going to cost you 1 card. And yeah, I see the potential. I think if the game had gone longer and I needed to use the resources, I think the only reason why I didn't use the enhanced reflexes when I had it was that I was basically burning my entire hand anyway, so it wasn't keeping a card in my hand. But yeah, I'm kind of on board with what these cards do. In the right deck, obviously. And then we've got Across the Spider-Verse, which was very helpful. Investigative Journalism, which I didn't use. I had ample chances to use it, but I only went to Alter Ego twice, and Peter just wasn't in play the second time that I had this around. When I had this around, the second time I went to Alter Ego, Peter just wasn't around. But I can totally see how this would be helpful, especially because if you keep the main scheme in check as much as I did, Investigative Journalism would have caused Green Goblin to become confused and prevented his... I wouldn't have gone to the second main scheme if I had timed Investigative Journalism at the point when everything flipped. Like, it would have been great. So yeah, overall, I think this is a really good deck. Let me just sit here and think through the actual cards in her kit, because now that I have a little bit more context, I see the use of Organic Webbing, Spider Claws. Spider Claws would have been great in this deck. It just didn't time out correctly. I see the power. I think in the Power and Outwit, I think all 3 of these cards are decent. I think it's really going to be scenario dependent, but definitely whichever. I don't want to be hard and fast here, but I think that... Oh, wait. Sorry, this isn't even like the same thing. I'm equating these as if they're the same thing, and they're not. Yeah, okay. Sorry. This is the cycle. I mean, Organic Webbing, I kind of say the same thing about. I think that among these 3, the general consensus that I got after playing them was that I feel like whichever one aligns with what your role is in the game is going to be the one that you're going to care about the most. So I could have seen Spider Claws be very, very helpful, especially in a deck with Peter Parker readying me back up, like deal 5, deal another 5. That would have been great. That said, I mean, she has a really strong defense, so being able to bump that up by a point or 2 definitely would have also made it so that Green Goblin just never had a chance to deal me damage. Organic Webbing I thought was good. Just I didn't get to use this card as much as I would have liked to. Eidetic Memory, I think this was good. I had it in play almost the whole time. I think I only swapped once, but I think that one swap was probably worth it. I don't remember precisely. Well, actually, wait, no. I think I did it twice. I think I swapped Monster for a Goblin Thrall, and then I did it again where I swapped something. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I've heard this is a good card. I agree. Didn't get to play Wall Crawl. Smooth as Silk. I think the jury's still out. I was kind of high on it as kind of an enabler. Now that I've played it, I'm not certain. Swinging Silk Kick, I think this is would have been good. It's just I didn't have a point in time when I had the right encounter set underneath Silk to really make good use out of this. I do think that I played this twice, and I think I don't know. Actually, might have played it once. I had the option to play it twice, but I went with Into the Fray. The second time I played it, I did do the 9, and that was helpful because I went through the 3 cost or the 3 defense or 3 health guard, and then put 6 onto Green Goblin. But I wish I could have got JJJ out. I think he would have been helpful. Although to be honest, I kept actually no, he wouldn't have been helpful in this game only because I saw one side scheme. But yeah, overall, I think this deck is pretty good. I think that on the base, once again, your experience may vary. If there was one card I might take out, I realize it's the namesake, but Pitchback, this might just not be the deck for Pitchback. That said, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed playing this. It was a different kind of aggression experience, and I think that just for an outing with Web Warriors, if you want to play with the Web Warriors, you can take this deck just as is and just go have some fun. But yeah, I will see you in the next video where we will be talking about Black Panther. And as of right now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Villain Theory's repurposed deck. So see you then.